Hey there, and welcome back to another episode of Be Encouraged Moments. I am going to do what I do on every video, and I'm going to say thank you for being here.
Yes.
I'm also going to encourage all of you, if you're finding enjoyment out of these videos, please share. Let other people know what we're doing here, because we just would love to reach as many lives as we possibly can. Today, we are going to be talking about disappointment, which is a interesting topic. I know that we can all say that we have experienced disappointment in our lives, whether it's big or small. It doesn't matter. We've all been there. We've all done that. And we've all, over the years, learned ways to process disappointment or to anticipate disappointment or, whatever situation you're in. Like I said, you're able to allow yourself to be prepared for the possibility of disappointment. But that's not what I want to talk about today, because we've all done that and we all know how to do that, or at least we're learning how to do that. What about as parents and our children? What happens when our children have to experience disappointment? And what do we as parents do to be there for our children when they're experiencing that disappointment? I mean, I know that we've talked on these videos numerous times about, how desperately Jan and I will protect our children. And I know that you guys feel the same way. You don't want to see your children hurt, and you will do anything to keep them from that hurt. But are we not allowing them to learn what disappointment is and how to process that disappointment, which is something we all had to learn? And when they're older, we can't protect them from those things. So are there ways that we ease them into that? So, story time, because I love story time. As many of you know, because I talk about it on here a lot, Marley is involved in youth theater. And she's only 12, and she's in a theater troupe that caters to kids from 8 to 18. And there's a lot of 17, 18-year-olds. So when auditioning for parts, the likelihood of her landing a lead spot just isn't very high. And we know that, but it doesn't mean that she doesn't go for those lead roles. And so most recently, we were auditioning for Little Mermaid, and she got it in her head that she was going to be Ursula. There was just no talking that kid out of it. She started doing one-on-one lessons. She'd spend extra time at the theater. She would listen to the music. She'd read the scripts. I mean, this kid was totally obsessed. She was going to be Ursula. That's just all there was to it. So she went into auditions on Saturday and auditioned, and she killed it. I could hear her down the hallway when she sang. She gave it 100%. She was 100% there. But she's 12, and she's going up against 18-year-olds who have been singing for a few more years than she has, and who do voice lessons. And I talked to her all along, building up to auditions, that it was a long shot for her to actually be considered for that role, but that there were other roles that she could be considered for, and so to be open to whatever they brought to the table. So that afternoon, our audition was late enough in the day that we were only like an hour or two away from callbacks. So we just decided to go to lunch, and we ended up going with another family, which then turned into another family and another family and another family. So we're talking like 12 kids at the table and several of us parents at another table when the callbacks came out. And every single kid at the table got a callback but her. And she, oh my gosh, I'm starting to get all emotional because it was just like, but she didn't want her friends to see her hurt. I mean, had we been at home, I guarantee you she'd have broke out in tears. But she was, in this situation, she was just like, it is, we just don't know anything yet. I mean, now granted, once we got in the car, it was a different scenario. But she wanted to be happy for her friends. She wanted to congratulate her friends, and she wanted to face her upsetness after we got home. So we went to a friend's house and, occupied our time. And she was just blue, all day Saturday. She was just disappointed. She had been let down because she felt like, she looked at what the callbacks were, and she felt like every role that was worth having had a callback. And so that automatically meant that she was in an ensemble and that she was going to be shoved in the back. She had already figured it all out in her head, which is what we do. That's what we as adults do. So why wouldn't our children do the same thing? And so my instinct is to scoop her up and tell her, yeah, they're wrong and they did a terrible job and they shouldn't have done that and you were the best. But was that the right thing to do? And it wasn't. And that's not what I did. Obviously I held her, I comforted her, I made sure she understood that I was there for her, but it was not, I just kept reminding her, we don't know anything yet. The cast list hasn't come out. These are just callbacks. These are just kids that they want to see again. It doesn't mean anything. So Sunday comes, every hour, refreshing the page, every hour, Mommy, have you checked your email? So we finally get the callback sheet in, and she, or get the cast list in, and she was cast. And one of the other roles that she wanted aside from Ursula, she wanted to be Scuttle, which is the seagull that squawks and sings and talks to Ursula, or talks to Ariel and throughout the play. Well, in the Broadway version, he has a group of sidekicks, and they do this tap number in the middle of the play. And that was the other thing. She desperately wanted this tap number. It was not so much Scuttle that she wanted, but the tap number. She got cast as one of the seagulls. So she was in this tap number with only 5 other kids, so it's just going to be them on stage doing this tap number. Yeah, so she was on cloud 9. She was squealing. She was so happy. Everything, the world was right again, and so I'm bringing all of this to you, one, because I'm processing it, but 2, because I think it's important that we encourage our children to work through the disappointment and not just tell them that, yeah, the world was wrong and that that shouldn't have happened to them. I mean, yes, I think that there are times when we need to work through some of that too, but this was casting. I don't know what the director was looking for. She doesn't know what the director was looking for. So that doesn't mean that she's less than. It just means that she wasn't right for this particular spot or for this particular role. And as it turned out, she was just, slightly shifted from what she thought she should be. And so I just think that this is my experience is a really great learning opportunity of how do we address disappointment with our kids? Do you have really little ones at home where you really haven't had to address that yet? Start thinking about it now. I think, like I said, just putting on your blinders and saying my kids are the best and that never should have happened isn't the right thing. Allowing our kids to work through those emotions and understand why things might have happened the way that they happened, and that, disappointment just happens sometimes. Sometimes it's completely out of our control, and, we don't know in this scenario what they were looking for, and that doesn't mean, it doesn't reflect on them negatively. As it would turn out, just because I've told you the whole story, she got a call yesterday, or actually I got a call yesterday, and they asked her to take on one of the Mer sisters? That's so hard to say. Mermaid sisters, basically, roles. So she's going to be one of Ariel's sisters with 6 other girls. And so, again, beside herself, and she's in all the songs that she wanted to be in. She's in some ensembles, but they all are. But she's going to be on stage where she wanted to be, and she is beyond thrilled. Yes. And so I guess part of the message of this too is patience and understanding, and like I said, not letting our emotions rule the situation. Because if I had let Saturday's emotions rule how we were going to let that disappointment affect us, we would have quit. And we would have never found out that she had been put in these other roles. But as a parent, it's my responsibility to not let her go there. So I just want to encourage all of you, if you haven't experienced disappointment with your little one, start thinking now how you are going to address that with your little one. Or if you have, I want you to think about how you did handle it and what maybe you could do differently or better, or how you can be that stronger role model for your children when you experience disappointment. So thank you, as always, for joining us for our Be Encouraged moment.